We are the Morning Hustle.
Morning Hustle Show. L'Oreal and Kyle Santillan, Alton Walker's here. And look, man, we got a guest in the building today because we are dealing with a crazy political climate right now. And we love when our people can come in and give us some insight, what to expect. We got questions to ask, and we're just trying to get some direction today from Miss Erica Loewe.
My sister!
Erica Loewe.
Came with gifts and everything, too.
Man, you have a very storied career through
You
DC
are
so
giving
far.
Mrs. Claus vibes.
Put your mic a little closer. Okay. Yes, we're glad to have you here, man. You've done a lot in your career. Just give people the short version of you in DC.
Legend.
Sure. Well, I most recently worked at the White House for the Biden-Harris administration. I was the director of African American media, the chief of staff for public engagement. I've worked for Jim Clyburn, for Maxine Waters, my favorite 80-year-olds. I know y'all got issues with age, but I don't. I respect my elders. So I've worked on Capitol Hill. I've worked in the White House. I've worked in the private sector. You name it in Washington, D.C. I have probably done it at this point.
That's what's up. That's what's
so
up.
It's good to be here.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought up the age thing. I want to just jump right
Let's
into it and talk about it because we know that there's a lot of people that don't step out of their position and they're grandfathered in and don't. And do you think that there should be a limit when it comes to certain terms?
Term limit for sure. Like, we got a president now who's trying to stay in there forever. Like, I was in the Capitol on January 6th when he tried to kill me and my colleagues. And he did that because he didn't want to leave office. So we can't have kings. That's why we have these no kings protests. And he's going to try to do it again. He's been very clear that he's going to run in 2028, even though he is term limited out. Term limits are important. We cannot have kings and dictators in this country. Age limits are something else. I do not agree with age limits because I think right now we are at a war against authoritarianism. We are at a war against a dictator. And when I'm in battle, I want somebody fighting for me that knows how to shoot a gun.
That's right.
Not somebody who's learning trying to figure out how to take the safety off. I think young people have a place. I think old people have a place. I think we can work together. Now, if the old people took a test and it says that they can't remember nothing and they got issues, then they should go.
So like
but
Joe
it shouldn't
Biden.
be. I ain't say that. That's not what I said.
I just wondered.
She said,
what I said.
She said, shoot a gun. You don't want nobody shaking either.
You like this with it.
Hey, you whippersnapper.
They need cognitive skills.
What I said is it should be a cognitive test and not an age test. That's all. Because there are some very competent old people that have been teaching some of the young folks what need to get done and how they got things done.
That's true.
I want to take it back what you said a second ago because I don't know that I've ever spoken to somebody who was in the Capitol when January 6th happened. Can you tell us about your experience? I mean, what were you feeling? What did you have to do? Were you running? Were you locking yourself in the room?
I was terrified. The pictures that you see from the media are from my office because it was also a pandemic. So we were one of the few folks in the Capitol that were actually working that day. And we let the media in because our office was right off the floor and they needed a place to hide. Now, we didn't intend for them to take pictures. I was actually pissed that they took pictures. I'm like, you're supposed to be helping us fight these people, not trying to get a Pulitzer. However, in hindsight, I'm glad those pictures exist because it showed what was happening at the time. We were terrified. Like, we were in an office too. Yeah. So we didn't know if they had guns, they had bombs. So we looking at letter openers and little statues trying to figure out what we could use as weapons because we were like, we might have to fight our way out of here.
That's crazy to find
and we spent a couple hours just basically playing dead, like pretending we weren't in there. They were knocking, they were trying to get in, and I was just praying and texting and just praying for the best, but we definitely thought we could die that day. And I thank God we didn't.
I feel like they downplayed. I mean, even though we know that the situation, we take it very serious, but I feel like they really downplayed the fact of what happened there and that there were lives lost.
They didn't just downplay it. They've been lying about it. Talking about it was just a friendly protest.
Right.
That one
and letting these people off as if they didn't commit this terrible crime against this country. And yes, there were lives lost. So the narrative, I think we have tried to control the narrative and to get the word out about what's actually happened. But there's been a lot of lies, and there are a lot of people that don't realize that Donald Trump, the president of the United States, tried to kill us.
Right. Why is it so hard to fight back against the false narrative?
Social media. And I want to talk about that. Yeah. Social media is just wild. I think that, there are a lot of dark forces at play. They're putting a lot of money into targeting our communities. And I think a lot of folks are struggling to keep up. I think they say Democrats are bad at messaging, and that's true to an extent. That I don't think we were prepared for just how far and dishonest they were going to go with the misinformation.
Yeah.
By the time we would catch up, they'd be like, Joe Biden was defunding HBCUs. Joe Biden got crack pipes in the street. Like, they were doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And by the time we caught up, it had already gone viral on Shade Room and all these other places. And Shade Room's not like a paper of record. They don't have like this journalistic integrity to take stuff down. So you just like fighting. And at that point, everybody's like, Joe Biden out here selling crack pipes.
I feel like I noticed that when it came to the Trump administration, that he did partner with people like Elon Musk that are very influential on socials and on social media platforms. And while you guys had your boots on the ground, he had his people and his bots on the internet.
And it worked. It still works. But what I want to say about that, it's like, yeah, they have a lot of money. Yeah, but it's incumbent upon us to not perpetuate this stuff. We have to be researched, and we certainly can't be using this bad information against one another. And that brings me to you, Loewe, because I have seen this headline circulating, and I even, I have friends who reposted it, and I asked them, and I was like, why did you repost this untrue headline about L'Oreal perpetuating information when she was just asking a question? They were like, oh, well, no, it was just a video and the headline was catchy. And it's like, it's easy to repost something when there's not a face to it. It's a whole bunch of Twitter and Instagram thugs. And it's like, they don't see the ramifications of how that impacts you, how that impacts people's lives until they lose their job or they commit suicide or they do crazy things. So, as it pertains to you, you were doing your job. You asked a question because you are an interviewer who asks questions. Stacey Abrams even commended you for providing the platform. We wouldn't have had in the clip. We wouldn't have had that platform to provide that information had you not provided it. So Black women, we out here fighting for our lives. There's no reason to be out here tearing each other down.
Yeah.
In fact, what's so ironic about it is the headline actually perpetuates misinformation, not you.
Exactly.
So you don't deserve that.
Thank you.
They're wrong for that. You've been doing your thing. You've been providing us with a platform for years. And I really hope that we can be better to each other because we love Black men.
Yeah, exactly.
I have been dating Black men unsuccessfully.
You can't. No, whoa. You can't do that.
You didn't have to say all
that. You can't do that now. But you take the unsuccessful part
You
out.
ain't have to take that out.
Very successful relationship
I
you were
do
in.
want to thank you for that because you're so funny.
Very.
All my life I have.
No, I do want to thank you for that. You're so crazy. I do want to thank you for that because you were one, and I would say one of many. I would say a lot of people did reach out to me, surprisingly to me, because I was being bashed and torn down, or I am being bashed and torn down on the internet right now for speaking my experience from canvassing and callers that we've had on this show here. And I didn't understand where they got me saying I didn't like Black. I never said that. All I said was there was some Black men that I spoke to that they were not going to support Kamala. And it is dangerous and it is hurtful and it is harmful, especially when my platform, which is called Listen to Black Women, is to push our people forward and to inform. And Miss Stacey Abrams doesn't come speaking to everybody. So obviously that alone should go to show you that there was a reason for that conversation. And it wasn't to attack me, at the end of it. So thank you for that. And also thank you to Miss Stacey Abrams, who not only reached out to me and apologized for how the conversation is being weaponized against me, but also she released a statement and her team released a statement because it was totally taken wrong. And my issue with it is that, y'all, we could sweep things under the rug as much as we want to, but there was a reason why there's initiative for me and people to go door to door. I went with Killer Mike, Michael Vick, the cast of Power to beg people in rural areas, our communities to go out and vote. There was a reason for that. There's a reason why people put funding behind that. And that's because we're not going out and doing because we think our votes don't count or we're not into the candidate at the time, but we have to look at the facts. And what it really was is your votes does count because now look, the SNAP benefits are gone. The insurance is going up and that affects those people directly. And that's all I want to do is see our people be put in better positions. And I would never in a trillion years say that I don't love Black men. And who would I love?
I watched that whole interview. You were quiet for the majority of the time. You were listening.
Thank you.
You were taking it in, and people need to stop perpetuating
this
information.
I let the experts speak, and that's why we have you here to talk to you.
Yeah.
And I do want to talk to you about what you did even during your time in the White House. I know because of you, and I told this story before, where you always come with your cape, okay? Because she actually reached out around the time. It just happened to be a coincidence, though, that the Michael B. Jordan situation happened, which was another clickbait thing.
I'm always with you around some little scandal.
So crazy. Well, maybe it's you.
Maybe it's
Olivia Pope.
Olivia Pope. Right?
It's because you use words like unsuccessful.
Yeah. So, but I did get an invitation to go to the White House, and that was my first time in the White House. I was having pretty much the worst day ever. And I got an opportunity to go in there to see Joe Biden, to see Kamala Harris. Please explain to us a little bit more about your role there and how you did bring so many African Americans in media into the White House.
Yeah. So, my first job was director of African American media, and then I got promoted to chief of staff for public engagement. But, in layman's terms, my job was to make sure that the people whose ancestors built that joint for free got in.
Right.
That was really what it is. It was my mission, what I enjoyed. I tell people it was the best and worst job I ever had because it was very hard. It took a toll on me mentally, financially, emotionally, all of the above.
Wow.
However, being able to provide that access and those opportunities to people who never in a million years thought that they would have it was a dream come true. And that's why I brought y'all these cups because, I think.
Oh, you gave them one too? I thought it was
Yeah,
just
why
me.
wouldn't she?
I'm so sad.
Sorry. Sorry for being generous.
Right.
No.
Don't ever do that again. Just me. You know how I feel about Black men? No, I'm joking.
But no, it was absolutely my mission. And it was the mandate of the president and vice president that we got to get people in here. My grandma, when I told her I was working at the White House the first time when I was an Obama intern way back when, she was like, are you going to be cleaning it? Because she couldn't fathom.
Wow.
She couldn't fathom. And I didn't know if she was joking or she was serious. But either way, I think my grandma calls it cracking but backing. Like there's still a little seriousness to what you're saying. And I don't think she could ever fathom that I would be, sitting in the Oval Office or on Air Force One and they'd be asking my opinion from my brain as opposed to, what labor I can do for them.
Right.
So, that's not that many generations ago. So we gotta get in there and we gotta get our people in there while we can.
So since you have not been in that position, I don't know how much you keep up with your old job and all of that, but now I don't see people on social media like, hey, I'm in the White House, you know what I mean? And I'm not seeing that same.
No black people.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that.
No black people in there.
Right, I'm not seeing that engagement like we were years prior, and I'm assuming that's a direct result of the people that are in
not
power.
Showing up.
Yeah, we don't need to go to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm assuming that's a direct result of who's in place.
Yeah, and I also just don't think it's a priority for them. Like diversity and bringing people in really was, say what you want to say about Joe Biden, but he was very clear that, Black people brought me to the dance and I want them to be a part of this administration. I don't think that, and we know Kamala Harris, she gang. So, I just don't think it's a priority. And I shout out the celebrities and the folks who aren't participating or going to the Kennedy Center and doing the things if his policies don't align with what you believe.
Mm-hmm.
As a Black woman who was up close around those people, Kamala Harris in particular, did you see any moments or have any moments with her where she was dealing with the people talking about how she's not Black, she's Indian and all that kind of stuff? Like, did you see? I know what we saw when she campaigned, but did you have any moments where you saw a little bit of emotional moment or anything like that dealing with those kind of things?
I mean, what she wrote in her book was absolutely her truth. And I think a lot of people who were there, witnessed that it is very hard being a Black woman.
Yeah.
But we love Black men. But it's very hard.
Unsuccessfully. Go ahead.
Yeah.
It's very hard being a Black
fault.
woman. And, Kamala Harris, she was loyal, she played her role, and no matter what she did, there were still people in that White House and out who were never going to support her, who were never going to vote for her, who were always going to disrespect her at every turn. And I'm really glad that she is now outside cussing and fussing and telling her truth. And hopefully people get to know the Kamala Harris that we really got to see, as opposed to the Kamala Harris that was doing her job and being loyal to the president.
Yeah.
How do you?
Oh, sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, how did you feel about Joe Biden backing out at that time? And
I had mixed feelings, because I think I've seen too much inside and outside. Like, I think there was very much a lot of infighting. There was the people that were ride or die for Joe, the people who were ride or die for Kamala. There was going to be a lot of, tug of war. And then I think, they were sad to go. The people for Kamala were measuring the drapes, and they were the cool kids in town after being oppressed. It was a lot with them. But then on top of that, I've also, we've been in this country long enough, and I believe that there were a lot of people that would still vote for a president who is a white man and seemingly rambling during a debate before they would vote for a black woman.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, because he knew the fight was fixed. That's how I look at it. I feel like he felt he could go up there and do nothing because he already knew that they had their plan and that was something that was illegal. And that's how I feel.
I'm
my
also
opinion.
about Joe Biden. Like, I believe, after his debate, and he was
fumbling. Yeah,
people, but I think there were people that would have voted for him.
Voted for him.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Over a black woman.
Very true.
You're definitely right about
well,
that.
Michelle Obama just recently had some comments about that, and she said a lot of people try to bait her into saying, "We want you to be president. We want you to be president." And she said the world is not ready United States is not ready for a woman to lead here.
They have not shown us otherwise.
Yeah.
Right.
Woman, period.
I agree with
Right.
that.
Let alone a black woman.
So how do you feel about Jasmine's run then, with her stepping up trying to run for her new position?
I'm so excited. Okay. So
Who I love. I love her.
Oh my gosh, she is that girl. So listen, I think people make plans and God makes bigger ones. And I've always believed that. But Jasmine Crockett is the prime example of that. Like, a year ago, 2 years ago, you never would have told me that Marjorie Taylor Greene, one, would be beefing with Donald Trump.
Yeah, right.
She would be now agreeing with Jasmine Crockett
Which
on
is
certain
crazy.
issues and leaving Congress with her tail between her legs. Meanwhile, Jasmine Crockett is now a front runner in a primary for a historic seat as the next senator from Texas. We have only had 5 black female senators in the 200 years that the Senate has existed.
And it wasn't in Texas.
Yeah, and it certainly wasn't in Texas.
Right.
So, but God. And I think she said that after she made her announcement. And it's not unwinnable. I know a lot of people are talking about how she can't win or she doesn't have crossover appeal. And what I know about white liberals who run this Democratic Party is they are always going to go with the status quo until they see something differently.
Right.
And right now, in my opinion, the status quo is probably the nice, smiling white man that's running against her in the primary, who's wonderful. He's a wonderful rising star. But then I see all these dog whistles talking about he has crossover appeal. She doesn't have that. And he represents the values of Texas. Like, what is that?
The narrative.
Right.
Here
Here go already. So,
what are the values of Texas?
Right. So we have an uphill battle. And I want everybody to get involved because this is not just a Texas thing. This is a national thing. Yeah. So she's got to beat this nice smiling white man for the primary. And then after she
Way to go.
and then after she gets to him, then that's the real fight.
Yeah.
Then the Republican, and they're going to hit her with everything. So
Yes, they are.
first and foremost,
They already are.
If you are a praying person, you need to pray for her. Pray for her strength. Pray for her protection. Pray that, because this is going to be the fight of her life. But on top of that, we got to run the numbers up, the money. I know Jasmine Crockett raises a whole bunch of money, but she now has to raise more money than she's ever had to raise. And them small dollars, $10, $25, they go a long way. They got Barack Obama elected. We need to send our money in. And then as it pertains to social media, we got to do that too, because you're going to see, you think you've seen some crazy posts now. You're going to see some crazy stuff about Jasmine Crockett. And we got to run the numbers up. We got to repost her stuff, like, comment, subscribe. We got to push back on all the other stuff.
This is the time. This is the time.
And then also, if you have time, volunteer. Like, I'm going to Texas. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
But
I'm coming too. Let me know.
I'm going. Because this is a fight that matters. We cannot lose Jasmine Crockett's voice. But again, God, like Trump tried to did draw her out of her district And that's another clear example of, God's rejection is sometimes redirection.
Mm-hmm.
She thought she was supposed to be in the House, and actually, no, she's supposed to run statewide.
Yeah.
There we go.
And I look at it like if she wasn't such a threat and she wasn't so important,
Absolutely.
he wouldn't keep picking at
Powerful
her.
people
He
don't
wouldn't
be
keep
talking
bringing her
about
up.
People that
Never.
are important.
Exactly.
They talking about this is a blessing. No, they are shooketh.
They are scared.
And they should be, because like she said, she is Texas tough. And if anybody is built for this moment, it is Jasmine Crockett. And also, if you look at like when Beto ran and even Colin Allred, they didn't lose by a whole lot. Like Beto lost by, I think it was like 200,000 votes. Colin Allred was more, but it was also a presidential year, so more people voted. Like, this is not impossible. There are over 3 million people in Texas. She got over 500,000 people in her district. It is. People just got to show up. That's the thing. And I think that she has energized the base. But I think that we got to hold these white liberals that run this party accountable.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee. That is the political arm of the Senate. Their job is to uplift her. So when she does win this primary, they're going to be they're already benefiting from the money that she brings and the energy that she brings. They need to pour all their resources into her race. We don't want to hear nothing about that's not winnable. We got other priorities. We don't want to hear that.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you're benefiting from this strong Black woman. You need to support her with your full weight, and we got to hold them accountable to do that.
Are you noticing a shift from when you first started in politics, working in the White House, opposed to now, and people's interest when it comes to, because I feel like back in the day, I didn't see a lot of political stories on the blogs. Now you see things like people like even like Shade Room and other athletes and entertainers speaking up and speaking out, doing interviews with candidates and stuff like that. Do you notice the difference, or is this normal to you?
No, because I think what's happening in politics just isn't normal. I think that stems from Barack Obama. I think people got really excited about Barack Obama, and then Trump started doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And I feel like the goalpost for crazy keeps moving.
Oh my God!
What crazier?
That's why I like Jazz, because she gonna get crazy with them.
Yeah.
Let's go.
But in a way, that gives her a little range to say more of what she wants. Because this guy says anything.
Yeah, Jasmine Crockett knows how to talk to the people. She knows what the people. That's why we have to do everything we can. We cannot get comfortable. For the next year, we need to be posting. We need to be sending money. We need to be working. We cannot take our foot off the gas, because that's what they want.
Yeah.
I think that's the part too, though, that people don't understand, that it takes money.
Oh yeah.
I think
only thing.
But I think that's the disconnect. Like, we know the more money you raise, you have a better chance of winning.
Absolutely.
And I think even growing up, like as a Black male, nobody told us about that part of campaigning. We just thought, they just going out there.
You thought they were just texting you for fun?
Yeah, they just getting out there and flying. But I'm just saying, coming up in our community, nobody talks about raising money and how important that is. So I think you saying that is very important.
Politicians are only really moved by three things. It's money, it's attention, and it's pressure.
Yeah.
So we gotta put pressure on them. We gotta amplify her stuff, and don't think that any dollar amount is too small. Your $10 plus my $10 plus your $10 is $30.
Right.
So
let me ask you about.
We got off the topic a long time ago, and I wanted to ask you this question, but it was dealing with Kamala Harris. Now, when she was running during the election, we know that it didn't. We were waiting for her to come out and say something after the election when she didn't win. Everybody was outside of Howard.
Cedric Richmond came out, and he's a strong Black man.
Yeah, but we did want to hear from Kamala. Do you feel like she made the right move by not addressing that Howard crowd?
I think she came back and she addressed the Howard crowd when she was ready.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to speak on, how she felt or that was her decision to make. The country made its decision. She gave it her all, and she needed a day.
Yeah.
We came back out the next day and listened to her, and it was cool.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to ask you about somebody who I love on one hand, but on the other side is driving me crazy and embarrassing me these days. And they're talking about the possibility of him running for a political position, and that's Stephen A. Smith. Do you think that's even possible, that people are taking seriously considering supporting him for a political campaign, whatever that might look like?
I think anything is possible.
I mean,
Donald Trump is
you got Trump in all.
It used to be like, oh, that'll never happen. I remember laughing at the protesters on January 6th when I was looking out the window like, oh, look at them trying to get in. Then they got in.
Right.
Yeah.
So I believe anything is possible. You know, I have also found, at least on the Republican side, they have a propensity to really, if they're going to uplift a black man, it's usually one that is, you know, in sports. Like, what's his name? Herschel Walker and the like. It's usually, you know. Hey,
so it's a possibility because he does have fame. So
he has fame. He says
fame.
What a lot of folks apparently want to hear. He's the clickbait king. So I don't know. Anything's possible. Why not?
Let's talking about getting another woman like you in the White House, right? So I know there's a little girl that's listening somewhere. You're originally from Liberty City.
Dade County 305.
I know that's right.
And they just,
Liberty City
just elected their first Democratic mayor in like 30 years.
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah.
Shout out to Miami.
First woman ever.
I didn't know you were from there. Okay.
Dade County.
Why are you smiling so hard?
I just said I didn't know she was from Liberty City. My family from Opelika.
I ain't never see your cheeks.
My family from Opelika.
What that got to do with you?
Liberty City is right there.
Opelika is a little bit.
Yeah, you know, they're
close enough, but not too close.
Okay. I got a little happy.
So yeah, there's a little girl right now.
I got a little happy. I did.
That wants to work in the White House too, despite what she's seeing, or maybe because of what she's seeing, because she sees Donald Trump is running our country to the ground. What would you give her? What advice would you give her? Because I know at one point in time, somebody might have told you it was a stretch for you to make it into the White House.
Pull up. You can do it. Like, that's the thing. I have a picture from Obama's 2008 inauguration with my family, and we took a picture outside of the gate. We never in a million years at that time thought we could get in the gate at all. And let alone me being in there and opening the gate for everybody else. Like, anything is possible. You know, again, if you're a person of faith like I am, pray, but God, none of this happened without God for me.
Yeah.
But on top of that, you always tell younger people, you know, you got to show up, you got to dress up, you never give up, and you pull others up. And that's what I've tried to live by. You know, I always showed up. I was working the door at political fundraisers and doing whatever I could to just be in the room and be of value and learn as much as I could. And you're going to get a whole lot of no's, but all you need is that one yes. And I've gotten a lot more no's than I've gotten yeses. And again, some rejection is often redirection. Like, I remember when I was up in the running to work for Senator Kamala Harris, and I didn't get that job, but I didn't know that years later, God would allow me to be in the White House with Vice President Kamala Harris. Like, so, you know, you show up to everything, you dress up, because especially if you're a young person of color, they are going to judge you before you open your mouth. Yeah. So you need to look the part.
So there's no particular dress code. Y'all just know you got to dress up.
In DC, there's a little bit of a dress code. Like, I think, you know, it's usually business attire.
Yeah.
So in other places, maybe not, but at the very least, be clean. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, never give up. Like I said, you only need one yes, and then pull others up. Like, once that happens for you, you gotta look out for other people. And I do believe, because I did look out for people, you know, people are now looking out for me and helping my business.
Yeah.
And so you don't do it to get that, but it pays off. Let's
talk about that. So right now you're not doing some of these other things anymore. What are you currently doing? What is your business at the moment?
I'm still serving the people. I'm trying to be on the right side of history, and I'm working with, I have a consulting firm. So I'm working with and for people that I believe in.
Our Olivia Pope.
Right. Yeah. So I'm a little more selective these days.
I know that's right.
But like, all money isn't good money, but I do like the money.
But who don't?
Right.
But I'm trying to work. I have a particular soft spot for just Black women working in all kinds of spaces, whether it's philanthropy, entertainment, you know, politics. Y'all had Stacey Davis Gates up here not too long ago. So yeah, I'm just really trying to do the work that I believe in.
But could we see you running for a seat?
I mean, you know, I would hate for this to age poorly, and I'd be like, no, and then I'd run and then start playing the morning hustle every day. But I don't think that's it.
You're not planning right now.
I do not have any plans to run for office, no. But I'm always happy to help my friends and colleagues who are.
Now, did Hunter bring that cocaine in the White House or not?
Oh my God!
Where did the cocaine come from?
I don't recall.
That's hilarious.
Because I feel like when it comes to the communication between the people in the White House, are we really getting the transparency that we would hope for?
Well, yes and no. Like, I think it is really incumbent upon us. We have to demand the conversation to happen. Like, and like I said, that's money, that is attention, and that's the pressure. So like, for instance, what we did with Target. Target's no different from the White House. Do not spend your money where the values are not aligned. The same with the pressure. You know, politicians really love to talk to Black people around like election time. And I remember a Radio 1 in particular. I don't remember what, I guess we were asking for the president to do multiple shows on Radio 1. And at some point the execs here were like, no. And I was like, no, you don't tell the president no. But then I thought about it and I was like, good for y'all. Because, I mean, I'm probably going to lose my job, but good for y'all. Good for y'all, because we can't let any government official, any political apparatus treat us any kind of way. Like, you can't just pull up when you need the votes or when you need something. Like, you have to treat us like you need us as much as we know that you need us. So
build that relationship.
So to answer your question, I think that politicians are only going to do as much as we make them do.
Right.
So you got to hold them accountable. You got to call them to the mat. If it doesn't make sense, then you gotta call them out on it.
Yeah, for sure. Damn, yo, you touched on a lot today, man. You definitely held it down, and we appreciate.
What were your hours? I'm sorry, I have so many questions. Like, what were your hours like?
They were 24 hours. I'm so excited this has been the best year of my life.
Because I could imagine. Like, we saw Obama go into the White House, a young man.
Yeah.
And he came out with the grays and the.
Right, which is why y'all need to leave Joe Biden alone, because he was out here fixing stuff and getting COVID shots and doing the things. He was tired. That's all. He had a bad day.
And that's why it should be a cap. There should be an age limit.
There should be a
That man falling off of bikes and all kinds.
Leave him alone.
Me personally, like, for the country, this has been a very rough year. But for me personally, I have absolutely been able to kind of focus on my priorities, my family, my health, my mental health, and the like. And that's not something that I think you get to do when you're in those types of spaces where they take everything from you.
Speaking of mental health, like being when you were in there working in a position in the White House, and it's so much that goes on. Like, was that stressful? Like, what was the stress level for you, working there?
I said, it was the best and worst job I've ever had. Yeah. Like, it was amazing because I was able to help so many people and do this exciting work and be there for these historic moments. But it was also miserable.
Yeah.
Like, it brings out the worst in everybody, and some people got some really bad worse. And it was a lot. Like, I remember seeing one of my colleagues get rolled out on a stretcher because I was about to shout him out, but that would be wrong.
Yeah. Like, damn, tell him my business.
Don't say who it is.
But there was a colleague who got rolled out on a stretcher because, he was working so hard. He started having heart palpitations. Like, it is extremely, I gained 40 pounds. Like, really? I cut my salary in half because they don't pay you nothing either.
I thought you get a government position. You was good on the paycheck.
The White House.
I'm gonna tell you what they're doing.
Not the White. In some of the government positions.
How do they afford a gold ballroom?
Exactly. But they have a lot of funders.
Stock market.
But I'm not there anymore. So
Yeah,
I can't
exactly.
Speak to that. But it absolutely, any of these jobs, and I'm sure y'all know as well, it's like you're grinding, you're hustling, you're trying to do what you can for people. But I miss out on a lot of life these last 4 years. So I'm excited to be going to the beach. I have 12 beaches in 2025.
We was on a cruise.
We were. Three.
Yeah, we have a election. Well, I'm going to say it's coming up soon because they got to start electing people now because we need to know who's about to get up in there. If you can put your bid in and be like, I would really want this person to run for president.
Like, who's next? I was thinking something like, who should we be looking to?
I'm not playing that game, y'all. I think
because I haven't been hearing names like
I've
that.
I've heard one that I think maybe a lot of people are leaning
There are
towards.
a number of names being floated around. I think you're going to hear a lot more. I think
Gavin Newsom.
That's a name.
Okay, so I did hear. Yeah,
there's a number of names, but it's not just going to be. You're going to hear it's a whole bunch of people that are going to get in the race. And you just got to make sure that you do the research on what they have done in their current positions to make sure that they didn't switch up just when they needed your black vote.
So you don't got nobody you want to put out like just to look out for.
Absolutely.
Not even the presidency.
Nope, don't like that game. Next question.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, switching up works for some people though, right? Because JD Vance switched up.
Half his cabinet switched up. They were talking cash stuff.
Yeah,
they were.
And then all of a sudden it was like he was their king. Like ambition is something.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And they got him on record talking trash. That's what's so crazy. It's wild.
Or like he's appointing people to positions to run agencies that they said that they hated and wanted to abolish. Like it's crazy.
One of the things that aggravates the hell out of me with the White House is how the press secretary always tries to position the Trump stuff to, dodge certain questions, act like everything everybody else is saying is wrong, and how in your mind that what you're saying about the president is outrageous.
But she's unserious. She over here talking about didn't she tell someone your mama the other day, or she was like, oh, your mom did it. Like,
but where do you think she's learning this from?
This is unserious.
Donald Trump.
He loves it. That's why she's still there. That's unserious.
Yeah, very much.
Press secretaries, for as long as the White House has been around, the purpose is to do the bidding of the president. And she is 100% leaning all the way in.
All the
way? I wonder if politics will ever go back to like the older days where you weren't allowed to say all these things. You think that it's just...
it shouldn't. It shouldn't. Like, I love that we have this social media and that we have, people can say things and things.
I'm more so mean like the president, like how he came out and was like with her little turban and like comments like that, and I just wonder
if that's how he feels. I want to tell me who you are to my face.
That's true.
So if that's how you feel, then great. I don't want you. I'm not with the respectability politics anymore. Like,
Thank you.
That's why we love Jasmine Crockett. Like,
there's still got to be a level of respect, though, right? Professionalism is the word I'm looking for.
That's
professionalism.
Who said? Clearly not. He's in office. Like, I don't know that they're. Tell us how you feel, and if what you're saying is disrespectful and offensive, like. The people wanted you there. Yeah. So it depends on who you want to appeal to. But if that's how he feels, then that's how he feels.
Well, we wanted you here, and we want you to always come here to help us out because it's not, you are expert and you are a real friend here.
I appreciate y'all.
We're going to need you to pull up again.
Yeah.
I'm happy to.
You got to, man. Thank you for spending some time with us today. We can't wait to do it again. Miss Erica Loewe in the building, man. Just put a little light on these politics for us today on the Morning Hustle Show.
And when they go low,
we going to
she
hell.
goes low. She is low.
That is my name.
She